Hey, recently I started storing that one HP 1000 mini computer system that I have. And a lot of people came and was like, wow, I didn't know HP made mini computers. And so I had to find out that many people don't know or didn't know that HP makes mini computers. And just to, fill that knowledge gap, I have something very special today. This huge thing, it is actually so big, I had to put the camera so far away that my microphone cable is not long enough. I should really get a wireless mic. This is an HP 250 mini computer. It's a single user workstation with like a built-in monitor and a keyboard, and like the computer is actually down here. It's heavy, it's big, and I absolutely love it. As all the other things, I found this one in the e-waste bin. It does turn on and it works. I have it since quite a while, but it really needs some love to actually shine the way I want it. So today I want to look and clean and fix this machine up as much as I can. So let's first take a look at it. So I've turned around the computer so we can see the user side. And the, keyboard and everything kind of obvious. User interface we have behind here. So we have not one, not two, we have actually 3 floppy disk drives for those absolutely ginormous. Look how big they are. 8-inch floppy diskettes. This actually is the boot drive, and I really should archive it, by the way. On the top of the floppy drives, we actually have a little convenient shelf with fucked up replacement batteries, a spare key, some pens, more pens, screws from the disassembly with official Hewlett-Packard branded bags, and more fuses. I never put something in there or took something out. This is original how I got it. Already you can see this is plastic and it's completely fucked from the throwing into the trash. Also all those scarves and marks, and here it really is not a happy computer. Luckily the floppy disk drives all somewhat work fine. They all electronically work, but mechanically those 2 disks are a little bit goofy, but the most bottom one works flawlessly. When you take a key and fiddle it behind here and push up the little latch in here, there's just a little latch that you need to push up with a key like that, we can open up the engine compartment, or the computer itself. And it's very convenient. It just slides out like that and you have access to the computer. So the cards are actually secured in by a couple of screws. So I've turned it a bit around so you can see better. The first board is just a HPIB interface board. So this offers some HPIB interfacing, but on the back it says it is just a storage bus. So it is not compatible with the HPIB standard. Okay, I've put some research into this. Usually the HP 250 was a small HPIB single channel system limited to 7 HPIB devices per GIC at less than 1 MHz bandwidth. So it's a normal HPIB bus compatible with everything HPIB, but it is not compatible with the HPIB standard because it's only for 7 HPIB devices and less than 1 MHz bandwidth. So it's a slow and not fully compatible HPIB bus. It says on the back it's for storage. I don't really understand why you want to hook up storage at the speed and less than 1 MHz. Like, I have HP hard drives, but they're all requiring the fast, or I think they require the fast HPIB bus. So you can hook up, I think, a printer or hard drives or something like that. I'm not fully sure what is what actually, because there are no names what is what. I just kind of assume from where the cables go. But I assume this is the floppy disk controller card. Next to that we have the CPU card, and the CPU actually has a cooler on it, which is, new to me. And if you turn it around, it has the CPU also on the back, you can see it. So I think this is some similar architecture, some similar 16-bit proprietary architecture like the HP 9820 has. Next to that we have 3 DRAM cards. Not much to say about those, they're just DRAM chips. I actually don't know what capacity it is. There is like next to nothing documented about this machine. There are some pictures online, but I have not yet found a manual or something. It's just this machine. So then next to that we have the serial controller. This controller offers 5 serial ports. I'm fairly certain about that. This cable goes to the serial ports. Fairly sure there are 5 controllers, 5, I don't know what those selectors are, a crystal, some sort of like controller, CPU something, and there are 5 serial ports on the back. So this is most likely a serial controller card. So this is probably the CRT controller, according for how little pins there are. There are only 3 pins that are hooked up to some signal and the rest is ground. So this is most likely the CRT controller. So this will be then the keyboard controller, which, you know, makes sense. Some multiplexing, some transistors, some like just the keyboard interface. And then this is a very special board. And I know about this board because I've had troubles with this board. It always worked, but the first time I tried to use it, I didn't plug this correctly in, and the computer did not want to boot. It had an error from the self-testing, and this apparently is the board that is responsible to set the addressing or like make the addressing for the entire machine. So like to just, you know, make the bus back here actually usable. So now the card cage is basically empty. There's just one card in it still, and that's the power supply card, and that's kind of hard to take out. I would need to take out the metal here, and I've never took it out. So to take out the power supply card, I will have to take those screws off, and then I should be able to pull that metal cover off here. Okay, so the metal cover is definitely attached to the board, so I need to take the board out with the metal cover. Oh, never mind. It came out. Good. Okay. So this then is the power supply card. Huge capacitors on this side, some transistors, and there's probably the power input. That's probably the power input here. And then we have some other cables going out here, probably to power the floppy drives. Exactly. So those are all cards. The card cage is now empty. I'll put back I put back the power supply. This looks good. I think none of the caps look leaky, and I think I approve this. So I'll put that just straight back how it came out. So now put back the power supply. That was an absolute pain. Let me actually hook back the power connector as well. There we go. And now let's go. Oh, actually my bench is kind of used, and we probably use the floor here to take a look at the circuit boards. Okay, so I made myself some space on the floor so you can take a look at the cards. So first of all, we have the CPU card here. There's some like, that's probably the bus transceiver chip. Actually, no, I lied. There is no like bus transceiver because the bus is on that side. So this is, I don't know what this is fully. The CPU has an edge connector on it that is not used. This is an unused connector. So this is a debug connector. So most likely those are some EEPROMs or some microchips. Maybe they're EEPROMs with like the firmware or like the code. not sure, but there's the CPU and some logic around it. There's also a 7-segment display. I think this is a button. Yeah, this is a button. Probably a reset button and a rotary switch, which I also don't know what it does. If you know anything about those machines, please hit me up. I really would like to learn more. Then next we have a memory board. There's configuration because you can have multiples of those. Just a whole bunch of DRAM. And they're Intel C2 117-4. I blend in here how much RAM this is because I can Google the chip and then multiply it. They're 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, so it's 16-bit and a parity bit, so it's just 4 banks basically, or 4 bytes. Then next we have this bus logic thing. I have absolutely no clue what it exactly does. There's some like voltage rail bus something. There's some permanent dip switches that are all connected. And just a bunch of 74 SN logic. So TTL logic. There's not much to that. The keyboard controller as well. There's the keyboard interface, some pull-up resistors, probably some multiplexing happening here. Just a whole bunch of TTL logic. This is probably something like bigger, maybe like a microcontroller, possibly, probably not actually, that would need an EEPROM. So this is probably a very simple and very crude way of interfacing to a keyboard. The CRT controller, on the other hand, looks kind of more interesting. It's a little bit more dense. There's a lot more logic on it. There are some chips, some ceramic chips on here. This one is socketed. This is an AM9216 CDC. So this is maybe a microcontroller or maybe an EEPROM. The other chip are also AM, yeah, they're maybe also just like CRT controllers. This looks like some SRAM, like just from the bus lines. This could be some like video memory. There's some analog logic here. Again, one of those rotary switches. There is some socketed chip that could be like a character set PROM, possibly. And then probably that's some bus logic to interface with the main bus of this here. The serial controller again, fairly basic. There's some TTL logic, some bigger ceramic chip here. It's 1820-1480, I think that's a date code, but I'm not really sure. Then there are Motorola, I assume those are probably TTL controllers or like serial controllers. That would make sense. Then here are configurations, probably for baud rates or something. There's a socket for something that isn't populated and some jumpers. Here also some jumpers, and 2 quartzes. This is the floppy controller. And I haven't looked at the floppies yet, but I don't think they have a lot of internal logic. So this is probably most of the logic for the thing, and HP actually made their own custom silicon for that. Some EEPROMs. I would really think that this may also just be like the bootloader and stuff, so everything is on here. So the CPU will first boot off those things, then load the floppies and boot from the floppies. There are 2 switches, there are some LEDs, probably for debugging. So there may be even like stuff for self-testing on here. Bunch of transistors, some logic, some of it's socketed, which makes me believe someone tried to fix this once and replace some chips on here, possibly. And last but not least, there's the HPIB interface. This is directly connected to the floppy controller. So this works together with the floppy controller because probably this is just a hard drive controller and a little bit of supporting logic for HPIB. There's also just a standard HPIB connector, and this cable goes to the back of the computer, which also has a standard HPIB connector. So after we took a look at the cards, I think it's time to put them back in. I need to remember the correct order that they go in. Okay, so I put all the cards now back together. and I think we should turn it around and look at the back of the floppy disks. So on this side again, I don't know if it's actually a door or if it's just, but you can unhinge it over this here. Here we go. Oh yeah, it is a door. This is the back side of the entire operation. So what we have first is back here is the power supply unit. I've one spin in here. I've replaced the refa capacitor. Fairly simple. It's a transformer. Most of the power supply is actually in the cage. Then we have all the cables going to the back, going to the serial ports, the monitor and the keyboard. All the cable to the card cage, some grounding. Yeah, this is power supply stuff again. And behind here, oh, I actually found a key. Ah, nice. There was a key inside here. No idea what it's for. Interesting. But when I take this off, I should possibly be able to access the back of the floppy drives. So when I take this fan off, I am in the back of the floppy drives. Oh, interesting. Okay, so they're daisy chained. Interestingly daisy chained, actually. They connected connectors to each other. But this is a floppy drive cable that I am familiar with. I have seen this before. In fact, I've used such a connector. We tried using such a connector on the other HP. Interestingly, the cable from the floppy drive controller here comes in on this side, and this is actually a different connector. It's a Centronic style connector, and then goes out of this, and then goes in both on the right side of the floppy while coming out of the left side. So they're not like daisy chained into each other. They're go in here, daisy chained out, but then parallel to each other, which is interesting. I think, I'm not sure, but I think they run off 12 volts. Unlike some other floppy drives that I have seen that run off 230. But I don't think I have to do anything in here, except of take a look at it and acknowledge that it's there. So let's put that back together. No! I didn't want this to happen. Bollocks. Shit. I dropped the story lower. Okay, I got it out. Top. Let's not do this again. I've reinstalled the fans here and the terminal blocks, and I'm gonna close this off now. We can also see that it has horrible scratches and a big dent here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm trying to get this into some prettier shape. Montage time! The scratches don't go out of it. They will stay forever. after I had a very pleasant time in the Discord with some other people.
Now draw yourself having sex on that thing.
What the fuck?
Why draw? You can just have somebody else take a picture. There are 3 people. It would be perfect for that. Okay, but who's getting
I think you're the one taking the picture, and then the other thing is a thing about Peps and me. Why did I agree to this? I just instinctively, my gay brain instinctively just played along with it.
That's fun.
Well,
Last one. Yeah, don't do that, please.
why?
Yeah, I want to probably hear me from here.
Oh no, my son is stray. God help me. That Brian, no.
For a second I thought it was like a machine gun or something.
I'm probably gonna include this audio into the video.
Exit.
Yeah.
You know what that one is called? You know what they call that sound? Mercy on the toilet.
Wow.
3 months tutorial.
This motherfucker is clean, at least on the top.
Want to make it dirty again?
I prefer not to.
Or do you want a layer of...
I would like to not have a layer of cum on it.
What? And what are following the conversation?
I've got big balls. I've got big balls. And they're such big balls. And they're dancy big balls. And she's got big balls. People say my big balls should be held every night. My balls are always bouncy. My balls are always full. And everybody comes and comes again. I spent some time cleaning up, and I think it's far from perfect, but I think it cleaned up fairly nicely, and it's so much better than before. So what I now have to do is I have to get this CRT tube out, and I have to bring it to my friend so we can fix that cataract. And after that will be done, this computer is almost fully operational. I would have to make minor fixes to the floppy disk drives. Apart from that, this computer will be fully working then. Okay, so after I installed everything and let it dry for a while, I think we can try to power it on now. I have a key that's a bit crooked. And if I didn't fuck up anything, it should work. It looks like it is booting. And yes, nice. Is that a brightness knob? Oh yeah, that's a brightness knob. We can definitely see it is booting. This is good news. This is very good news. Yeah, we got the flashing cursor here. That is very good news. So I've brought the camera now closer to the monitor, and you can definitely see the cataract is makes it very hard to read. But there is a cursor, and I can maybe make it brighter. Nah, it doesn't really help. Let's reset real quick. Oh yeah, now you can also see the the self-test that it's making, and all of them pass, by the way. I can program this thing in BASIC now. So when I run this, you can't read it, but it's just a print hello world, go to 10, and it just prints hello world, like it's supposed to. I can list and get the program. I can make the other program like 10 for x equals 100, or x equals 0 to 100, print x, next x, run, oops, run, and now we have it printing out all the to 100. So the computer at itself works fine. I can program BASIC, and I really need to fix the cataract now. But the computer in itself, it works flawlessly, and now it actually is very fun working on this computer with all the functionality actually working, and like it looks so pretty. This computer has never been this pretty. It's super cool. I like it. Okay, so now the computer is actually running fine and everything is amazing, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please consider leaving a like. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. You can join my Discord for updates and stuff. I live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/MatsBunny. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Goodbye. I'm out.